Thank you for the introduction, Prince. So today we're going to be discussing about the mass adoption and experiences, and each one of the panelists have experience in different sectors, NFTs and gaming, and um, also NFTs, right? So a social fi, yeah. So before we go into the details, I'd like to ask each panelist to provide us more information about yourself and the company.
Before we go, I'm not a co-founder of Fandom. I'm just the business director of Fandom. So don't misunderstand, okay? I don't want to make any trouble in company, okay? Anyhow, my name is Joseph. Originally from Korea, and I got into Web3 and crypto industry back in 2017 and 18ish. As a co-founder, I launched P2E casino games on EOS chain. I don't know why it was just EOS chain, but that time it was just fun to just start the blockchain experiences. And later on, I just work as mostly business business strategy and also blockchain strategy head for the many years. In the previous company, Fingerlabs, I used to work as a director there, and I launched the most famous and successful PFP NFT projects called the Samia Club, and that we made made like $7 million out of it, and also it's still representative PFP project of Korea. And after that Finger Labs work, and I just moved to Fandom. So Fandom Studio, we build a Web3 creators economy and ecosystem. And we have two main businesses, and first of them is that we build creators NFT platform. So what it is that the creators refer content creators like TikTokers or YouTubers or Instagram influencers to just make trends with their photos or videos and etc. And we help them to build like a membership services or subscription models or content sales via using NFTs as a tool. And the second business model is that we help creators and artists to launch their NFT project, their own NFT project. So in January, we launched a G-Dragon NFT project. You may just know that G-Dragon is one of members of the Big Bang, who is a Korean boy band like BTS back in 2000 years. And we launched like his project, and recently we launched Yoonbi is a Korean rapper, and he was shown like a TV show and make like 700 his premium membership service. So those two are the main business that we are just doing right now. So and right now we are working on Michael Jackson tribute music album. You know, Michael Jackson in Korea is kind of random, but still make a long story short, we just invest and have IPs of Michael Jackson's unreleased songs, and we just gather all the top tier global artists. Just half of them will be from Asia, half of them will be just really top tier global artists, just make a tribute album for Michael Jackson. So I think that will make really mass adoption from Web 2 to Web 3. So we also just use NFTs as a tool. And that's pretty what we're doing right now. And by the way, we are just an official partner with the TikTok Glover and have a lot of entertainment agencies and business in Korea. Thank you.
So, hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, or Jonathan, you can pronounce it whichever way you prefer, but the Finnish one is a bit tricky for most people. And I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Phaver. My own background is from the dark side of Web 2, so I was at Google for a couple of years when I started my career after business school, and then moved on to a small startup that we then actually scaled to be the global market leader for Facebook advertising. So was eventually based in New York, working with clients like Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, Spotify, eBay on essentially like data mining and making you buy the stuff that you really don't need. And got also very high on my own supply, so I bought way too many things from every Instagram ad I was seeing and filling up my tiny studio apartment in New York with that, and realized that there's kind of so many things here that are not sustainable, both from like an like ecological but also like ethical standpoint. So we figured like I figured like I need to do a reset and start building something where I'm actually comfortable with the impact of what I'm doing. And initially we started with a bit more of a Web 2 recommendation app approach, but then realized that, okay, Web 2 is the history and it's so fundamentally broken that you need to really rebuild if you want to do something where you actually feel good about yourself in social media. So fast forwarding a couple of years from that, we launched the Web 3 version of Phaver about a year and a half ago. And the goal for Phaver is essentially to be the first real Web3 social media. So if you think about Web3 as that ownership economy where people own their assets, but it also means those are interoperable assets. So from the Biome presentation, that means that all of those amazing NFT experiences that can be launched through the Biome platform can then, through interoperability, be also recognized as part of your Phaver experience, as can your Bored Ape, as can your Lens profile, as can your CyberConnect profile, your Farcaster profile. Anything that you bring into your crypto wallets essentially can and should be part of your Web3 social experience. So it's no longer going to be a sandboxed experience where Facebook data mines you against your will to determine what are you interested in, and then you actually have no say in that. And then if you go to Twitter, again, it's a completely sandboxed situation where they, again, separately spy you across the internet to try to determine what you're interested in. So we think that Web3 social is going to be about bringing together all of these pieces of your digital identity that in the future will not live in your Gmail inbox and your Twitter servers, but they will actually be living in your crypto wallets or your Web3 accounts or whatever you want to be calling them in the near future, for that mainstream adoption. Right now, Phaver is the biggest app on Lens protocol. We just checked, we are about 75% or so of all the mobile posts made on Lens protocol as of August. And we're also on CyberConnect and adding more and more integration with their amazing platform, hopefully adding Farcaster also in the near future. But the big focus for Phaver right now is how do we take all of those NFT experiences people have and bring those people together around social communities. So if you have the G-Dragon fan NFT, or if you're part of that conference experience and you've minted a Gorillas NFT out of there, how do we bring these people also together in their kind of everyday social app life? And that's what I'm kind of most bullish about right now.
Hi, sorry. Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm the Global Marketing Director here at MarbleX. So I'm going to try to explain MarbleX as best as possible, but English is not my first language, so please keep that in mind. I'll try my best. So MarbleX is a gaming blockchain company with its headquarters in Netmarble, which is Korea's #1 mobile gaming company. I'm sure most of you will know most of our products like Ni no Kuni Crossworlds, maybe MetaWorld My City, 모두의 마블, which is a board game-based game that we have. Most of it's all mobile-based, and that's our headquarters. Now, MarbleX is the blockchain arm of Netmarble. We apply our ecosystem to carefully selected, really good high-quality games, only high-quality games. So we have only 4 to 5 games in our ecosystem at the moment, which were all a mega hit in global countries. We do all sorts of collaborations with developers, even influencers and KOLs with our products. And other than that, yeah, I think that's a brief introduction of our company.
Yeah, thank you all for the brief introduction. Before I go into the questions, I'd also like to give you some more information about myself and the company. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Catalyze Research, And Catalyze was founded in 2017 in Shanghai, China. As a venture capital, we invested in projects in the early stages and helped them accelerate. And just most recently, in around 2021, we pivoted to consulting and research. So now we're providing consultings to Web2 traditional enterprises and also Web3 global players who wants to enter the Korean market. So one of the clients that we have currently is Ripple Labs, and we're representing Ripple in Korea and helping them expand their XRP Ledger Layer 1 network. So these are the things that we do, and we are always open to talk to projects or developers or any sorts of users that are interested in the Korean market. So in blockchain, mass adoption is coming from, in my opinion, coming from the Web2 industry, because Web3 is relatively new, and when we call it mass adoption, it's coming from the general public. And when we want mass user growth, we need to have entertainment. And entertainment is represented through NFT for now. So I'd like to ask you, because you are doing a project on top of NFT, other than NFT, are you looking into other areas where mass adoptions can be achieved?
Entertainment, it relates with so many business areas like TV show, film, music, arts, like any business based on fandom. So we just call it entertainment business. So it used to be, as you said, represented NFTs, but as it goes, Web3 product and also project, they provide more and more than just NFT. So difference. So one of like a good example will be I think the Metaverse. So entertainment is not a book. Just read, just see, like just NFT. So entertainment businesses need to communicate between users and the product, and users and IPs, and users and artists, and like the arts and everything. So for the NFT, there's like a hard. It's not really. It has to be expanded to like more to see and more to experience. So NFTs can see just the artwork and just use like a lot of technologies, but Metaverse is pretty much to show everything that entertainment used to just communicate with the users. So I'm not sure there's a sandbox people here, but I think the sandbox is making really good examples. So they are just collaborate with like celebs and also music and arts and films to present that like all the like IPs to reach the users, right? But for now, they have like mostly the Web3 users, but they are just expanding with the really good IPs. And another examples, I think that there's so many projects and products just bring in like Web2 services to Web3. So like Twitch or Netflix or some other like social files, they just make the pretty similar the business model and add Web3 technology and Web3 and services. So I think that will be. I think this from the NFT. I think it's moving towards like a more. For the mass adoption, they like provide more service and more features to make users just Web2 users be just comfortable. I think that's my idea.
So you've mentioned that Twitch and all these social fi is the key component to the mass adoption, and we have Phaver here, who is the leader in the Web3 social fi, and you have reached over 150K MAU recently. And what are your views, and what was the reason why Phaver was so successful in this Web3 industry?
Yeah, I think to first start with kind of how we see our success so far. I think it's all about the focus on community. So most of Web3 social has been about building technology so far, and rightfully so, because you need to build those rails that Lens and CyberConnect and others are figuring out. Otherwise, we can never scale. We need to have that backend technology ready. But that's not what users care about. And users don't join for the technology, they join for the experience, for the community. So Phaver has been heavily over-indexing in hiring our like community and partnerships team, where over half of our 28-person staff is focused on serving our users, getting more experiences, working with great partners. Like we had a very nice partnership with Belligom here in Korea. We got thousands of new users through that and a lot of recognition. And also, like Belligom got a lot of new recognition around the world. So this sort of like community of partners and community of users is kind of where we attribute the current success. Where obviously the numbers overall are still very small. We're at 250,000 total installs. But the fact that we can get 100,000 of those folks coming back every week into Phaver is something that's very unique for Web3 right now. And I think that's attributable to that sense of community. Where, as an example, I recently onboarded my grandmother into Phaver and Lens, as I treat her as kind of the guinea pig for if she's able to use our app, then it's ready for mainstream adoption. We're not without friction yet. The amount of tech support calls I get from her has doubled since doing this. Previously, it was about whether Google spies her through her camera on her phone. Now it's about what's going on with my Phaver. What are these staking things that you're talking about here? And what's my wallet pin code? I want to buy one of those NFT things now. So she's definitely getting into the Web3. She's already GMing everyone in her posts, which is amazing to see. But more importantly, she's actually found a community of global people who are commenting on her hedgehog photos and childhood photos of me and having real conversations and real connections, despite the community being some of them in India, Nigeria, Korea, Japan, all around the world. And somehow, like, this is already connecting people in a very wholesome way instead of the yelling and fighting that's going on, sadly, in a lot of the current networks of Web 2. So I think that's kind of where we see some of the success so far. But then long term, we see that the vision for, like, how do we get the mainstream in? So how do we get everybody's grandmothers in is kind of usually the final level of adoption. That's usually when the teenagers start leaving, when their grandparents enter. But in between, it's all about building that experience where you don't realize that it's a Web3 social and you don't have to figure out what's a blockchain, what's an NFT. These are all the kind of like technical building blocks of things, but nobody entering Facebook or Instagram knows about cloud platforms and how do cloud-based services work. Nor do they care, nor should they care. So we've now been still in that technological phase. But I think 2024 is going to be the first year where we have the technology in place. So the CyberConnect v3, the Lens v2, Farcaster going mainnet, everybody's pretty much now kind of entering that phase where we can start onboarding millions of users into this ecosystem. And then it's about building that user experience where my grandmother doesn't have to figure out what an NFT is to join.
Yeah, so active user is the most important part in the mass adoption. Of course, applications have users, but you mentioned that Phaver has over 100,000 active users, monthly active users now, right?
Weekly.
Weekly users, which is a lot more. So active users is important, and if you look at other sectors like gaming, gaming is a good way to attract more active users. And MarbleX here is within the gaming sector. And I remember that MarbleX is focusing on the users and also the gaming developers. And of course, these two have to have a balance, but like which sector are you more focusing on?
Okay, that's a great question. So I'm going to represent MarbleX, not a blockchain user. So first of all, it is super important to have the great balance like you just told us. Developers trying to build on-chain products and games, that's really important to have mass adoption. But at the moment, as MarbleX, as a game maker, we have a 20-year reputation in making high-quality games. So we're more user data and we're more focusing on users and building games that gamers would actually want to play more than just building onto other chains and on-chain games. So we're much more. MarbleX thinks that we have to bring more people from the Web 2 user base to achieve mass adoption. So that's why we're trying to build much more high-quality games other than just on-chain games. And that's why we're trying to get AAA quality. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but AAA quality games is the most important for us. That means we're just gonna keep going user-focused more than developers.
Yeah, and even within the games, there are a lot of entertainment, such as NFTs. And recently, in Korea and globally, players who want to issue NFTs or do an NFT project has been increasing. You've done many NFT projects in the past, and if you had to give advices to the founders and the projects who want to get into the NFT market, what would you tell them?
I usually just work with NFT project based on entertainment side. We just make artist NFTs and creators NFTs. And one of my advice is that we need to make a really good balance from Web 2 and Web 3. So I believe that one of the legacy of Web 3 is that the community. So Web 2 is the people just use services and product, and that's it. If they like it, they use it. If not, they don't use it. Web 3, we just let people into the platform. So we can ask them to what kind of product do we build it together. So that's pretty much Web 3 ideas. So we have to just remember that the community is really important. So for the NFT project, I may just share one of the experience while we just launching the product. So while launching the Sunmiya Club NFT project, Sunmi is one of famous female music artists in Korea. And we just make her membership NFT project. And we just issue 10,000 NFTs. And there are a lot of benefits of her activities, like concert and music, albums and merchandise and everything. But we try to, of course, we focus on the marketing and promotions to Web3, and also we just make promotions and marketing to Web2 users, like her fans, right? That makes sense because she has a lot of fans in Korea, in Asia, and in Europe. So, but Sunmi's agency used to give benefits to their Web2 fans, right? But we have more benefits from the NFT holders, right? So then the fans got really pissed off, right? We are the really fan of you, but why you just give more benefits to the Web3? They're just investors. They don't even know you. They just put the money and just make money, right? So they just make a complaint that Bitcoin's the environment issue and this is a legal issue and blah, blah, blah. And people just saying that they are using you, my love, my artist, to make a business way. So they really don't like it. So what we did is that we just talked to make us an AMA with Web2 users and fans that we just make a balance, the benefits, and also we just give this amount of NFTs, we just airdrop them, and we try to pretty much make them feel better. So we are the same. We are the one of this community that we just came in, right? To the Sunmi. So I think the important thing is that when you just build Web3 communities or NFT communities, it's really important that we need to see what Web2 users want, not only the Web3, how we can just make a business and make money from out of the NFT project.
Yeah, so NFT is very special, unique in a way that you're giving fans opportunity to be part of the community, right? When we talk about SocialFi as well, you're interacting with the users, and the reason why you integrated Web3 into SocialFi is because you wanted the users to leverage the blockchain technology. But I'd like to know if the success of Phaver was because of the incentive program that you leveraged from blockchain, or because of the infrastructure, social infrastructure you built.
Yeah, I think incentives are kind of one of the tricky parts of Web3 right now, and it's been kind of very, like, it's been dominating the industry too much, because if people buy NFTs in order to hope to make money out of that NFT and sell it onwards in a week or a month or whenever, then you're not really building community, you're not building longevity, and it's questionable, is there actual utility even involved if we're talking about pure speculation. But then same with tokens. So if people come to your app just because they want to have an airdrop, that's a problem, because they're going to be leaving the moment they get the airdrop, and they probably didn't bring any real value into the system. So I think in order for the incentive mechanisms of Web3 to work, we need to kind of somehow get over that sort of short-term profit focus. That is unfortunately a key thing for a lot of the current Web3 users. And Phaver is obviously not immune to this, but what we've been trying to do is, we've been told by a lot of folks, like, you should never say the word airdrop to your community, and you should never say that there's got to be rewards, because then all of the airdrop hunters and all of the farmers and all of the abusers and everything will be coming in. But the problem is that Web3 has gotten to a point where whether you mention the A word or not, everybody's going to assume there's going to be one. Lens Protocol had a huge influx of farming earlier this year, when a rumor of, an airdrop is definitely coming, started spreading around, despite Lens not ever referring to anything like that. And yeah, there probably will be one at some point in the future, but the problem is, whether you like it or not, that's going to be an expectation of the existing community. So then what Phaver has been trying to do is we kind of tackled that head on. So from day one, we've been telling people, like, yes, your Phaver points will become Phaver tokens once those release eventually. We're currently targeting late this year for the launch of those, and we have been actively using the A word everywhere because that's how you kind of like hash out all of that problematic behavior. So the Phaver points are deliberately a Web 2 version that lives in our database on Google Cloud. We can delete somebody's points if they've been fraudulently getting them, and we've been very open that if you try to cheat us, we're going to catch you and you're not going to be earning anything out of that. But this has led to us having essentially a 1.5 year social experiment on what are all the ways that people are trying to abuse the system and actively essentially make it worse by trying to extract value of it instead of creating value. And this is one of the big things that social, for Web 3 especially, but also Web 2, needs to solve. So if you think about Web 2 incentives for Twitter, for example, Elon had a big question of like how many bots are there on Twitter, and is it going to be way more than they represented? And the problem for those Web 2 apps is that what they're actually monetizing is impressions. The more fake users running around, the more impressions they can actually monetize. So for them, the more bots, the more money. Whereas for Web 3, the more bots, the less longevity for your token, the less social experience, and like there's not a single good thing about having fake users in your Web 3 app if you're not trying to do a impression-based monetization system. So then what Phaver has been doing is kind of bit by bit, we've been squashing those problematic things by launching things like if you want to earn from posting, then you pay 50 points to make that post into a premium topic, and therefore your spray and pray approach of making 100 posts a day is no longer lucrative. And starting to bring in a lot of these mechanisms that gamify things in a fun way, not in a kind of friction creating way. And eventually we hope to get to a point where we have a more or less essentially cheating proof in-app economy. And with that, we can then have a sustainable token because kind of like it or not, majority of the token value has either come from like pure speculation, Ponzi-nomics, or a gambling dynamic where somebody has to lose in order for somebody else to win. Because like sadly money doesn't come out of thin air, so it's either somebody losing it or somebody gaining it. But then in social, what you can actually get to is a genuine value exchange. As we saw earlier on, like if you're a fan of someone, 80-something% of people are willing to pay for experiences because they're a fan of a artist, for example. And same for creators in general. Like there's a lot of people who are willing to pay for some of the value, being part of an exclusive club or getting more exclusive content or just tipping their favorite person. And there's the gamification. People are willing to put in some money in the hopes of maybe earning more if they're successful in the long term, or getting more visibility, getting more advertising, getting more followers are things people are willing to pay for. And then that willingness to pay for it can kind of translate into actually rewarding people with sustainable income that comes from real actions instead of somebody else losing it, or the Ponzinomics of let's all get in early and then the later people are going to be paying for our games. So a bit of a complex answer, but I think kind of yes, the like rewards are a big part of why people are probably also using Phaver, but we're trying to make it more and more healthy and less kind of problematic, so to say, in order for actually scaling that. Because as we've seen with a lot of the airdrop projects, like airdrops can be great at drumming up the interest, but they're typically very bad for longevity of the project. So if everybody takes out all of their money and cashes out their tokens, you're not left with any active users anymore. So also the Phaver redemption will be a monthly thing based on your activity, so you can never take the money and run. It's always going to be, if you remain an active Phaver user, every month you can get a certain quota of the points you've earned transferred into tokens, and therefore we hope to build something that is actually around for a long time.
Yeah, so incentivizing users through Web3 blockchain technology is a unique thing in blockchain. And because Web3 does not get regulated too much, there's the opportunity. When we talk about mass adoption, we also have to think about the importance of regulation. And recently in Korea and globally, STO has been a hot topic. And in Korea, they've just announced that in 2024, STO is legalized. But because of this security token issue, P2E projects are having very difficult times right now. So they can't be issuing tokens in Korea, so they're moving away from Korea or moving away from the business. So I'd like to know from MarbleX if what your views on the future of P2E projects or any gaming projects that can be related to security tokens.
Right. Yeah, most of you would know in Korea and a lot of different countries, we can't use P2E games because it's a gray area, it's illegal in some countries, but at the moment, so what we do is we are currently using a hybrid blockchain system. So for some countries that is illegal, we're trying to use just normal games, just in-game tokens, nothing related with wallets or blockchain. But in countries that this is allowed, like Southeast Asia, the US, we actually utilize blockchain. So we try to target different regions. And for this, let's say, to bring mass adoption, we have to quite bring the Web2 user base to Web3. And if we keep saying airdrop, if we keep saying Bitcoin, in-game tokens, P2E, etc., they would have to educate themselves. They would have no idea, oh my god, Web3 gaming is so hard, I have to educate myself, I have to learn Bitcoin, I have to learn how to connect my wallet and so on. But that's just super unnatural. We want to make this conversion much more natural and easy to use. That's why we try to make our own marketplace. We try to make our own wallet so people can just do it with 1 second, 1 click, nothing related with hard connecting, and we have to teach everyone about public tokens and in-game assets, what NFTs are. We're just gonna do the same thing we've always done for 20 years, just giving out our rewards and saying, but this is a NFT. You could utilize it if you want, or you could just utilize it in your game, or you could put it up on your marketplace. So people can actually use it as a Web3 game product or a Web2. We're just in the middle, and we're still doing hybrid, if that makes sense.
Great, yeah. So we've heard from different sectors, from NFTs, from SocialFi and gaming, and I'd like to wrap it up. And before we wrap up, could you let us know in one word or in a short sentence what mass adoption is?
What mass adoption is? I would say mass adoption is connection. So what we are doing is like a connect like all people together, right? So, but we are just using blockchain technology, and some people doesn't know what it is, but still they want to be connected. So even like games, entertainments, or arts, and all the sections that people want to communicate, talk about what they like, what they love. So I think the Web3, even like us, like people need to focus on what people love, not what we like. So we need to just make a really good connection and network and communication services to provide people that can actually make like successful mass adoption. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think the short sentence part of it is that mass adoption is desire minus friction, which is the basic consumer equation. And when we get to a point where 100 million people or more, let's say, have more desire to do something in Web3 than they face friction in Web3, then we're going to be reaching the mass market with this. Right now, the friction is too high, and we haven't figured out yet how to make it actually desirable enough for 100 million people. So both of these need to be worked on, and eventually the scale will be tipping, and then that will actually mean mainstream adoption.
I would have to say in one word, Web3 mass adoption would be daily. So if this is my dream to come true, I would say a mass adoption would be waking up, going to brush your teeth, earning just by breathing and brushing your teeth, going to bed, earning, sleeping, sending your database to some other kind of D app or X2E product. So I think mass adoption has to be easy, just normal and natural to be into our daily lives, and that's what mass adoption is for me.
Great. Thank you for listening to our panel. I just want to wrap it up and thank you.
A really big thank you to Ben, Joseph, Jonathan, and Hannah. So right now it's time for lunch. This is also an excuse for people to leave. So it's in the corner. Go and get something to eat. There's soju, makgeolli, there's beer, there's wine. Day drinking is the best. Soju down.